Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
If you are not entertained after this show, then I'm not doing my job right. Sizzle plus steak. Today we're going to talk about Bella Thorne. You might think we're a little late to the story on this one, but we have last minute updates. I will have with me Stirling Cooper today, adult film extraordinaire phenomenon. He's going to give us his unique take on this whole situation. Because now, all women are sex workers. Thank you, Bella Thorne. Coming up. Thank you very much. No Greyhound camp today, but we have. There he is. See? All right, we got Stirling Cooper. Oh boy, that's all for you, my friend. All for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's enough of that crap. You haven't been on my show. I don't think you've been on my show since I've kind of mixed things up a little bit with the intro. I'm actually working on a video right now, like I don't want to make it 30 seconds. It'll probably be about a 10 or 12 second video, just sort of as an intro kind of thing. But been mixing things up a little bit. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. We get a little bit of feedback.
Oh, hang on one second. Let me. I usually have to. StreamYard has a little thing called disable audio processing, which I have now. How about now? Can you hear me? Okay.
Let's try that again.
How about that? Is that good?
Yep, that's
good.
Better.
Yeah, that's what it was. Cool. All right, man.
Yeah, I've been good. This week has been very spicy on my Twitter feed with the whole Bella Thorne thing. So yeah, I reached out to you and I was like, dude, let's definitely talk about this on your show.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I really wanted to hit on this when it first came out, but when it hit on I think I mentioned it on Wednesday that she had made $1 million off of OnlyFans.
Yeah, that hit on Wednesday, and then over the next day or two, all the little intricacies of it came out.
Yeah. And then here's what's funny is I have to do homework for show. Like for my Sunday show, my Wednesday's show is a little bit more casual. But for my Sunday show, I usually do a lot of homework for it. And like when you said, hey, let's do something about the Bella Thorne thing, I'm like, okay, what can we do that hasn't already been done? Because everybody on YouTube's probably already hit on this as I was, doing my research, but nobody. What happens is things like the Will Smith thing comes out, or the Tommy Lahren thing comes out, or whatever that's kind of relatable in a red pill kind of sense. And then it comes and it goes, and it's done, right? Nobody cares about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith anymore, right? Unless something like really substantial happens in the next week or two or whatever, and they'll be hot for about a week and they'll be done. So when something comes out like on a Wednesday or a Thursday, you can bet by Friday it's probably already been done on YouTube and everybody's moved on to the next thing. However, we have late breaking news for this story. I was doing some homework for this, so let me just give you a little build up here. For those of you guys who don't know who Stirling Cooper is, let's just introduce Stirling. Stirling is let's say he is in the adult film industry and has been a performer for 2 years? 4 years?
3 years now.
3 years. Okay. Almost got that right. I've had, if you're, I'll put it at the end of the video here, a link, but if you're interested in seeing my original interview with Stirling, and we've had you on Rule Zero a few times too. You were actually on yesterday. Yeah. So if you're not familiar with Stirling, he's got a great Twitter. You got a good Twitter feed. You're working on, you have a book out. I know that. What's your, go ahead and plug your book real quick.
Yeah. Go to my gumroad.com/Stirling Cooper. My book is How I Grew My Penis and Other Porn Industry Secrets. It's basically a compilation of all the tips, techniques, and supplements and various lifestyle habits that I've learned from being in the adult industry and off. other male performers about how we actually do our job and perform when it counts, so to speak.
One of the reasons I really like having you as sort of like one of the extended members of the extended Rule Zero family is because you really provide us an insight into that kind of world, or that kind of side of things. Whereas you still sort of, of course you've read my books, but you're also very kind of versed in red pill awareness, I would say too, right?
Yeah. So it's there's not many people in my industry who have this red pill perspective.
Experience.
Yeah, and that's what, and this is what, and then in the red pill space, there's not many guys who are in my situation. So today, I am going to be giving you some insight from porn Twitter.
Yeah, and so just to let everybody know, we have a lot of quotes and a lot of let's say screen grabs to share today. So this is going to be I'm going to probably be I don't know, filtering through these things as we go. You'll have to tell me which ones you want to see first, or if I'll just throw them up there as we go, and we can.
I think you can pretty much just throw, because I remember I sent them in like the email I sent you last night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have them all. I got them already.
Go through like from the first email and then down to the last email.
Okay, all right.
Let's go that way.
I will. Yeah, we'll get into that. First of all, let's define the situation. So what happened on Wednesday was, I think it was on TMZ or something. And again, I don't want like my show is, I've always said this is like, I'm about giving you guys some information, education. I want you to like walk away from this show having a little bit better insight. It's very easy to just go and report what happened, and it's very easy to just go, oh, I really hate that girl, Tommy Lahren, or that Jada Pinkett Smith, and you can get that indignation if that's what you're here for. Okay, like I said, are you not entertained, right? Mm-hmm. But I want you guys to go away from this with a little bit more, a better rounded understanding of really what's going on here, and really what you can do with this information. So I've told Brian Stone this: it's sizzle and steak. So we're going to give you the steak today too, because every single video that I have seen on YouTube right now is just like, all it is just indignation and sort of rage bait. So yeah, you can't help it with this story. You're gonna get the rage bait, but you're also gonna understand, I think, a little bit more about what's going on, because there's a lot. Like for instance, when I was watching these, what other people had done with these videos, most of their videos about the Bella Thorne situation. Let's just say Bella Thorne versus OnlyFans.
It's not even really. It's not Bella Thorne versus OnlyFans. It's Bella Thorne versus like porn girls. Well, let's say OnlyFans porn, like cam girls that decided that they were going to make a living off of this, probably back in most of them probably back in March. Let's just say the lion's share of I mean, I'm sure other women have been doing this for a while, but like, yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Statistically, we'll do that. I do want to show you guys this though first, because a lot of people, like, if you looked at the thumbnail for this show, you'll see that's Bella Thorne from what her album, I think it was called. What was it called? It was called Jersey. Like she was like from New Jersey, or she was wearing like a football jersey. She was, and here's what got me. I have to start out this way, because when I'm watching all of these shows, when I'm watching like these little 5-minute, 10-minute shows on the Bella Thorne situation, every single one of them said, I don't really know who Bella Thorne is. Like, well, you don't have Google, you don't live in the internet. It's just not hard to figure out. I know who Bella Thorne is. And I know who Bella Thorne is because at the time when my daughter was like a tween, like 12 to like, was it 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. And then maybe a little bit older, maybe when she was in like middle school, she loved Disney Channel. Okay, she loved Miley Cyrus. She liked Demi Lovato. She liked what's the other girl? Not Lindsay Lohan, because she was kind of out. She was already kind of cycled through the meat grinder, let's say, for the like the Disney Channel thing. Bella Thorne is one of those girls. She's one of those girls who just ended up kind of being a washout, and which one didn't, right? And it's interesting to see them go, like Miley Cyrus, go from being like Hannah Montana to what she is now. And now you go and you see, let's just let me just to give you some contrast here. This is Bella Thorne when she was on this show called Shake It Up. It was one of the last shows that was really, I want to say a hit, but it was something that was going on with with Disney Channel back, I think in like 2010 or 2011. I'm not exactly sure. Sue me. I don't know my Disney stars all that well. But she was on there with Zendaya, who was the Mary Jane, I think, in the Spider-Man series now, right? And then she was also Zendaya, the girl who was like her her co-star on the show. She's also going to be playing a character in the upcoming Dune movie that's coming out. That's how I know that, who she was with. But she is, and I have to do this kind of build up here because a lot of people go, who cares? Like, I don't even know who this person is. I never watched any of this. Well, the problem with this is that the people who do know who she is exactly the generation that is going to pay for OnlyFans girls to see nudes of. Now, do you remember, maybe you remember this, maybe you don't. Do you remember when, let me pull that out. Do you remember when Emma Watson was a big deal? Like when she was doing the Harry Potter thing. Yeah. I remember that in the early 2000s when Emma Watson was probably like 12 or 13 or 14. And she got, you sort of grew up with her because the first movie, she was very young. And then she, like by the end of the whole series, now she's 17 years old. And now she's Emma Watson, right? And Emma Watson has the dubious honor, let's just say, of being the most face pasted, sex faked meme slash like JPEG. Yeah, so
like a deep fake.
Yes, like a deep fake, as best a deep fake that you could do with Photoshop back in like 2004, 2005. But she has the dubious honor of having her face cut and pasted over, porn, so that guys could get off on thinking that they were watching Emma Watson get it with somebody else, because that was their first, kind of sexual crush kind of thing. So that, I think, and here's another. So this is Bella one more time. And like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of screen shares on this, so bear with me. This is Bella again in Playhouse Disney or whatever Disney thinks she was doing. She's been a child star for a while. She was sort of this up and coming, and she has that kind of, if you see her without makeup, she kind of has that kind of red-haired white girl kind of look to her. Maybe the freckles and like that. Maybe that Irish look.
It's kind of like a little bit like a girl next door look.
Yes, yeah. And if you see her without her makeup and without her nose ring and everything else, and before she got her tats and all that, if you saw her then, you would go, "Oh man, she's very wholesome." She looks like like the girl that's down on the country farm kind of thing, right? Yeah. So she has that kind of good girl appeal. But what guys want is they want this. That's what they're looking for, and that's what she gave them. Because I think at some point along the way, maybe around 18 or 19, hopefully, or 18 or 19, that's when she decided that she was going to be this Bella Thorne right here. And I can see why guys would get a crush on this girl. I can see why they would have some kind of like this would. I don't want to say she's the Emma Watson of this generation, but she's as close an approximation, I think, as a lot of guys can get if you know who she is. Obviously, she doesn't have the same kind of pull as Emma Watson, but it's the same dynamic, right? You watch this girl like, oh man, she's almost 18, right? And then when she gets to be 18, bam, she turns into Miley Cyrus. Bam, she turns into Demi Lovato. Bam, she turns into Lindsay Lohan, right? She turns into the skank that you were always hoping she was going to turn into, and now here she is. Well, in this generation, we can go a little bit further than that. You can actually talk to her. You can see her on Instagram. You can see her on her little private videos. You can see her on OnlyFans now. Yeah. And so I think a lot of people were giving this girl a lot of grief when all of this happened. And trust me, I am not going to try to defend Bella Thorne in all of this whatsoever. Okay. But I do understand you have to respect the hustle. And I know that sounds weird coming from me, but when it comes to what she's doing, she's giving these guys who've waited all this time to get those nudes, which of course there's already probably nudes out there if you wanted to get them.
That's the funny thing.
You could get them. Yeah. There's already nudes out there. I think. At least boob shots or something like that.
There is 100%. There is yeah. Like I didn't. There was one thing I didn't screenshot last night. Was another sex worker, like a porn chick I know, tweeted out, "Why did everyone pay for her nudes? You could just Google them," and she put up
and get them.
You just Google Bella Thorne nude and you find them.
Right. But I think, again, we're going to give you a little bit of education with today. I've said this before, is that when it comes to incels, when it comes to OnlyFans, when it comes to, having that, I guess, breaking down that fourth wall, like when actors are like, there's the fourth wall between you and the camera kind of thing. You don't play to the camera, you play to you play to the scene. Well, you know better than I do that you play to the scene kind of thing. Whereas I think that when you get online, there's this idea that you could sort of break down that fourth wall and actually interact with that person. Have you ever seen House of Cards?
No, I haven't watched House of Cards.
The guy, the main, it was Kevin Spacey's character, used to do that all the time. He would talk to the audience kind of thing and let you know what's on his mind. That's called breaking down the fourth wall. And I think that she probably, pretty much all these girls who do the OnlyFans things, I think part of the appeal is that there might be some interaction between you and that person, because if it was just about sex, they could go find boob shots. That wouldn't be a problem at all.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but I remember when I was growing up, like, I remember the Spice Girls were like the big thing. Like they were the kind of like Baby Spice, Ginger Spice, all these Spice Girls, whatever, right? And they were the kind of the girls that all the teenage boys sort of had like sexual fantasies about, right? And it was like, okay, you might have like a racy photo like up on your wall or some shit that you would like use as jerk off material. You'd never get the chance to actually chat to her. Or at least think you were chatting to her, right? So that's what all these guys have sort of like jumped on to OnlyFans with the hope of achieving. I want to give these guys a real quick breakdown of what's transpired in like the last couple of days. Okay, so for those of you who are not fully aware of the situation, so Bella Thorne decided to jump on OnlyFans under the guise of so here's the story that she put out. So she told everyone on her Twitter, etc., that she has been cast in a movie where she's going to be playing either like a sex worker or an OnlyFans girl or something to this effect. And so the director she was working with said, "Oh, you should do it. Get an OnlyFans account to sort of see what it's about, to sort of get some She made the excuse that she was doing this for research purposes. Okay, so that's the start of it. Then within 24 hours, she pulled in over $1 million. This is like, holy crap, that's quite a lot of money. How did that happen? Then over the next 24 to 48 hours, it was revealed how she did that. So obviously she, like, if you just do the basic maths on this, that's close to like, I think it's like close to like 4,000 dudes paying for her private nudes. So what she did was she said, in OnlyFans, for those of you who are not aware, you can you can send out a pay-per-view message. So I can send someone a nude or a video, right? It's blurred, they can't see anything, and they have to pay to unlock it, right? And I set the price for that.
Pay-per-view.
Yeah. So she said you might, and this might be a good point to bring up the screenshot of her. I can't remember which email it was in, but it'll be a screenshot which has like a $200 price tag on it.
Oh, okay. Continue. I'll
keep talking. Okay. So she sent out this DM to her fans saying, "You want to see me nude, like full frontal nudity? Here's a $200 pay to unlock nude of me." And all the fans are sort of, you'll see the screenshot in a second. The fans are asking like, nude, like nude. She's like, yeah, nude. And they get the fucking.
It's not this one. This is the story. Yeah. It is this one. Am I right?
No, it's not this one.
No, wrong one. But that's okay. This is actually the news story. She actually made $2 million. In
the week. Yeah, she's made $2 million in the week, but she made $1 million in like 24 hours.
Okay, let me pick it up. Keep going.
She sent out this $200 nude, and all these dudes bought it. And it's actually not even. And I think there's a photo I sent you as well, which is like the gray.
Yeah, I have that one. I'm a little. I think we could probably put that on there. There's nothing that's really too revealing.
It's not like it's the nude that these guys paid $200 for. She's not even nude. It's side. It's basically side boob.
Yeah, I'll put that one up. This is one of the shots right here. I do have that one ready to go. I have that one ready to go.
Right. It's been floating around Twitter. So this is what these guys paid $200 for. Right. So what happened then was you had a whole bunch, you had thousands of dudes get real pissed off at the fact that they paid $200 for this. And so OnlyFans received about at least $600,000 worth of credit card chargebacks in the space of 24 hours. So they in response to all those chargebacks, what they've done, and this is where all of these porn girls, OnlyFans girls, webcam girls are getting really pissed off at Bella Thorne for. OnlyFans then went and said, all right, like to sort of prevent this from happening again in the future, we're going to cap the amount you can charge for a pay-per-view message at $50. And we're going to cap the amount that a fan can tip you at $100. And so then all these girls got real pissed off at that. And then the second thing that OnlyFans did was normally OnlyFans have a 7-day payout schedule, right? So someone subscribes to my account, and then within 7 days, I can cash out that money, right? That's how that works. OnlyFans then went.
I found it. Here it is. Hold on 1 second. I got to go ahead. Continue.
You got to bring up the DM, right?
Yeah. The other one. Yeah. Hold on.
I'm gonna wait for you to bring up this DM.
All right, there it is. Right, that's the one.
So this is the DM that she sent out to all of her fans.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see the way it's kind of like an insight to like what OnlyFans looks like as a user. Right? So it's like unlock this picture for $200. That black square is her talking. She's saying naked, yes, naked, and how naked is the question for $2? No clothes naked. I mean, technically she's right, but it's just side boob.
Yeah, well, I mean, she didn't lie.
Anyway, the second thing after this backlash, the second.
Well done, Bella. Well done. Well played. Yes.
Well played. Right. The second thing that OnlyFans did was so normally it was a 7-day rolling payout schedule for OnlyFans.
Yeah, that I'm familiar with because we do a month, but now it's a 7-day, or it was a 7-day. Now it's a month.
Yeah. Now they moved it back to a 30-day rolling payout. Because of all this, and everyone sort of figured it out. Like, wait a minute, they got like $600,000 worth of chargebacks. They haven't set aside the cash flow to deal with that.
Yeah, wasn't an escrow.
It wasn't an escrow. So basically, what they've had to do is say to everyone else on the platform, "We're going to hold your money for 21 extra days, so we can pay for all these credit card chargebacks that Bella Thorne's
$2 million.
Yeah." And you can all get your money 21 days later than you would. So that is why porn Twitter is just been blowing up.
Losing its mind.
Few days, losing their mind because this girl came along and just played everyone. And now everyone's like out of money for like the next 21 days.
Let me see if I can get some of these up here. This is great. This was a good one. Where'd it go? I think this was the one or the original one you wanted me to show was this one.
Yeah, I think it might have been is one thing of I DM'd it in our group chat.
Was it? I think it's this one. This was the first one you sent me, actually.
Yeah. So this is an example of what of porn Twitter. This is like what. So my Twitter feed is like a combination of this kind of stuff and then a lot of red pill stuff for anyone who's curious. So I sort of see a bit of both worlds. Yeah. Bella is going to get Instagram shut down for advertising. Yeah. So that's the other thing. Very often when porn girls, if they're known to be in the porn industry, if you sort of do this whole swipe up thing on your Instagram to your OnlyFans account, if you do that too often, very often your account will get shut down. There's lots of girls who are officially porn stars who get their Instagram accounts like banned like pretty much instantly. And they have to every few months they have to start a new Instagram account. But you get influencers. So girls who are not in porn, who've never shot any hardcore pornography, but have an OnlyFans account, and they post pictures of their butts in like thongs and bikinis all day, they'll have millions of followers and they'll never have their account shut down. So these girls get really mad at this sort of like difference in the way they get treated.
Oh, this girl was my favorite one here. This is the one that I thought was really good. Of the shares that you got, and these are girls that you know, right?
That last girl, I don't know. There's a couple of these girls I do know.
You probably know this one.
Yeah, I know this girl. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So basically, Bella lied to sell a $200 nude. Yeah, pay-per-view limit, tipping limit, those reds. Yeah, and this is the best part. This the comment underneath here. I hope your top percentage babes calling everyone haters for being upset the other day can now see the impacts of everyone. So there's also this thing in it's this funny thing that's been happening lately on OnlyFans where girls will because OnlyFans will show you what percentage you are in like you're in the top 5% of earners. You're in the top 0.1% of earners on OnlyFans. Like, it'll show up on your payout screen. So it just to tell you where you are.
Yeah, just to sort of give you some kind of ranking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you do, and I know a couple other guys that do as well because they're doing fitness things or something with it. It's not only for porn. It's
not
mainly
only
for porn, but it's not only for porn.
That's exactly it. It's not only porn. And I think the funny thing was it was actually when they first started. I'm going to backtrack for a quick second here. When they first started OnlyFans, when you signed up, it was kind of pitched as though a way, kind of like a Patreon. It was pitched almost like, here's how content creators can make money, right? It was kind of pitched like, oh, if you're a fitness instructor or you're a musician or you're an artist, this is where you can put your premium stuff and make some money.
Yeah.
Right. But the porn industry is very good. This is my favorite one.
Yeah. For my full titty.
That's my absolute favorite one.
That's pretty funny. Oh,
I love it. Yeah. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so they pitched it like it was this thing for content creators. But the porn industry is an early adopter of technology in general.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, you've seen this, people, if you go back in time, with DVDs, with cinema, with DVDs, with the internet, porn is pretty much on the cusp all the time. With VR, all this kind of stuff. So they jumped on OnlyFans as a great way for performers to make cash directly from their fans, right? So what happened was the porn industry basically built OnlyFans into what it is today because all the girls jumped on it. And this is before the quarantine. This is before this year. OnlyFans has been around for over 3 years now. It's been around for a while. Many of the early adopters were all porn chicks. And so, yeah, and then getting back to this point she was making before when she was calling out these top earning girls, there's been this weird trend lately where it's like a flex. Girls will screenshot
who their pay pigs are. Is that what you're saying?
No, they'll screenshot how high of percentage they are. I'm in the top 0.1 earners on OnlyFans, and they'll take that screenshot and they'll put it on the Twitter and be like, see what all the fuss is about. See why I'm one of the top earners. And then you get these girls sort of hating on each other because the top earning girls are flexing on the not so top earning girls, And so Bella got, and then this tweet, Bella got a ton of flack for this because she said, "Oh, I'm not doing nudity," and then in her DMs she put that $200 pay-per-view message out saying it's full nudity. Now here's the thing. Like I said before, if you do the simple math, we're talking let me make sure I'm not bastardizing mathematics here. Let's say 1 million. Oops, that's 1,000. 1 million divided by $200. You got about 5,000 dudes who paid for that.
Oh, you know what? I heard somebody talking about this. That it's what was it, $20? It was $20 a month for her membership, right?
Right.
And they said she had about 80,000 fans on her thing already that were ready to pay for I guess that signed up for it, right? Because probably there was this promise of oh, we're gonna see you naked. Woo.
Exactly. Right. But think about that. 80,000 fans. Let's just go with that number.
$1. Yeah.
80,000 fans.
1.6.
And she's replying to 80,000 people in the space of 24 hours? No, that's not physically possible, people. She's not the one messaging them.
Yeah. She's got help, right?
Clearly she's got a team of people doing this for her. Hence the difference between what she's saying on her Twitter feed, which is very likely her actually tweeting, versus what her team of dudes are texting these guys in her OnlyFans DMs. So I guarantee you, she had a team of people running that shit for her.
She's got handlers. She's got to have handlers for this.
And here's the other thing. And OnlyFans were, I'm pretty sure OnlyFans were also promoting her themselves, right? And that's where we've gotten to this new revelation that happened half an hour before we went live. Oh,
okay. Yeah, let me dig this one up. There's some other good ones here, but let's go to that one. Here's the breaking news that I started teasing you guys with. So, and this just came out. Yeah, you can get this anywhere, but you heard it here first. So,
yeah.
So that you heard it here first, guys. This is it.
Yeah. So this tweet literally went live, which was 37 minutes. This was maybe 10 minutes before we went live. I sent this to Rollo.
Yeah.
It's part of my feed. So OnlyFans are now promoting her sister, Callie Thorne, all over, who's just decided to. I think she might have already had her own OnlyFans account. It looks like it. And here's the funny thing. If you scroll down to the bottom of that,
this tweet.
Yeah, scroll down to the bottom of the screenshot I've taken. Right down the bottom. You'll see. Okay, these two little things at the bottom here. These two images. You'll see really. So she's already had an OnlyFans account.
Oh, these ones. Yeah. Okay.
Because these are actually This girl doesn't actually have a Twitter, as far as I'm aware. This is Bella Thorne's sister, Callie Thorne. She's commenting on her sister's OnlyFans, and she's like, there's a ton of screenshots of this now. I didn't capture them all for you. There's a bunch of screenshots going around of her basically trolling OnlyFans girls for being sluts. And now they're mad. They are so mad.
Oh man, this is like this is the epitome of hose mad here.
It is. Oh dear Lord, yeah. It's like my whole feed is blowing up with this stuff. So basically, like this, and her trolling is like next level. She's trolling them for like.
Now I don't know enough about you just made me aware of this before we came on, but like, so she has a reputation for being like against like on like cam girls or like,
well, like she's basically been commenting on girl stuff on OnlyFans, like say, like this one example, like, haha, let us survive, dude, take control of your life. So like that comment, like, let us survive. I've seen a lot of it. There's probably a few screenshots that I've seen here where the girls are saying things like, survival sex work and like you're taking money out of our mouths.
Yeah, you're taking food out of our mouths, kind of thing. Yeah, that was
kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so Bella, this Thorne is like dropping comments, something like quoting these chicks, being like, "I'm a proud slut," in quotation marks, and be like, "Lol, get more creative, bitch." Like you know, stuff like this. I'm like, oh god, she's like next level trolling these girls.
Oh my god.
It's like so brutal.
The other ones here that she sent me as well. These are pretty good. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna save this one for last. I got this other one right here. Let's see, what is this? Oh, okay. This one kind of detailed the what the other girls are very complain. Now here's the thing: is like there's so many of these chicks.
Yeah, to give you an idea of how, like, I think I saw someone quoted an number the other day. I think there's something like 450,000 accounts on OnlyFans. That includes like the girls as well as the simps who subscribe. That's everyone. But that's like 450,000 accounts on their website. That's quite a lot of people. So there's a lot of girls like competing for this money or competing for attention, I guess.
I think what's pissing a lot of these girls off right now is I don't think it's so much the pay schedule as it is the tips. Because it seems like that's where they make the bulk of their money. Because I realize, and this is, I'm not, again, because I'm talking about this does not mean I endorse any of this. Just like, I have to clarify that because people go, why do you go on there and endorse porn and all that? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that I'm the messenger. Don't kill me. All right. You know, I just work here, man. So when I see stuff like this, it seems to me like from all these tweets, and there's a lot of them from all these tweets. Actually, I got a series right here that might spell me out a little bit more, but correct me if I'm wrong. But like when women are doing their OnlyFans porn or whatever you want to call it, sex work, right? When they're doing their sex work, is it the tips that they make the majority of the money on, and like how often does that come along? Yeah,
it's mostly the tips and or like the pay-per-view messages. So like they'll have their feed where they've got like, you know, there'll be nudes and photos and things like that, and then this is a great example. That's why I took this screenshot. This is a great example of like a typical conversation between a girl and her subscriber on an OnlyFans account, right? So you can see this, like the dude's the one in the gray on the left hand side. It's just like he's just calling her beautiful, dumping money at her, and she's just replying back in text. And there's another one following up after that.
Yeah, there's a follow up where she can't get $100
yeah, so he just dumps like
$100. Yeah,
$30 tips in a row on her, and it's like this is the kind of thing like. Because every girl will have like they'll have a lot of subscribers, but then this the follow up. This is the guy saying like, "Good night, beautiful. $30, $30, $30, $30." And it's like she just sends about a fucking message. You're literally my favorite.
Right.
You're sending that to like every 200 dudes. But these
Wow.
girls they'll have like this is an example of like a whale.
Yeah. I think they're called pay pigs, right? I need a pay pig. I want to go have a shopping spree. Where's my pay pig?
A pay pig is a different.
Oh, is it? What's the difference between a whale and a pay pig?
Okay, I like a whale. This is like sales terminology. You know what I mean? Like when I say a whale is like a big client,
big fish, yeah,
a big fish, right? Someone you get a lot of money from. So like every account will have one or two, will have several, depending on how many subscribers they have, whales like this, where they're guys who will just be very, very avid fans, and they'll constantly be tipping and dropping tips just for the girl's attention, just for the DM, just for them to like talk to the guy. Like she's not even sending him, any nudes or videos or anything. She's literally just chatting with the guy. So every girl has dudes like this in her DMs, and that's where they get a large chunk of their money comes from a smaller percentage of the subscribers who do this sort of stuff. Yeah, a pay pig is actually a fetish where you're degrading the person, and like you have like control of their finances and shit. It's a totally different fetish. Yeah, this is just regular simp behavior.
Yeah. Simply Fly says, thanks for the BPD show. Yeah, you're welcome, man. I did a show on borderline personality disorder on my Patreon show. I'm interested in hearing more about how you guys think about BPD and predatory, women in nature, or the predatory nature in porn. That's actually kind of an interesting question, because I'm seeing a lot of transition or kind of crossover into OnlyFans right now. OnlyFans seems like it is almost preferable to porn, because it doesn't really, I mean, you could, I guess, it doesn't require you to be actually having sex with another guy. It could just be used lounging around in lingerie or playing with yourself or whatever. Ladies. So
and that's what you're saying.
Yeah, he's asking like what about the predatory nature in porn.
It's not like the thing, like everyone assumes that it's like this predatory thing. Like, yeah, there are, okay, fair play. There are one or two agents in our industry in America who have a very bad reputation, who have very predatory practices. So there are actually a couple of agents who are shitty, and have put girls in really compromising situations and sort of forced them to do things they don't want to do, right? But that is not the majority. The vast majority of our industry is women who are consenting and very happy to be doing this, and who want to be doing this.
Yeah.
Right. It's very, very like it's they're not being pressured or forced into it. I understand. We talked about that before. I understand that, but like, do you think that you're going to get you're going to get a million guys who are going to go, yeah, but they're predatory of me. Oh, right. Okay.
And that was actually part of my notes right here that I want to talk about. So we'll come to that in just a second. I do want to put this one up though. Thanks for that super chat there, Simply Fly. That's actually a question I have right here. So I want to put this one up here too, because I thought this was interesting, because now they're trying to figure out like what the scam is. And so this girl, Little Dumpling, says, research my ass. We know it was a money grab. Get your bag, but don't bring the rest of us down because of false advertisement. Way to make 2020 even worse, or even more unpredictable. Good night and fuck you. Right? Bella Thorne. And then this was the one that got me, is Celia the Lion, whatever her name. The more that I think about it, they probably put these celebrities up to it to restrict sex workers on the platform. Like the site wasn't meant for us. They made that clear when they changed the terms, the terms of agreement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe this is actually OnlyFans trying to sort of dial it back a little bit? Because everybody thinks of OnlyFans as like, this is like you were saying, that's what made OnlyFans big was pornography.
I think what we're seeing is a clear push from OnlyFans to get influencers on their platform. I don't necessarily, and that's why they're like the tweet we saw before that with Bella Thorne's sister. OnlyFans official account is literally promoting her. They don't do that for fucking anyone else. And and another really big thing that happened was Bella Thorne was like, after she got all this flack from every sex worker on the planet, she was basically like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna sit down and chat with OnlyFans personally, and we're gonna figure out something to like undo the damage."
Right.
Fucking notorious. If anyone who has an OnlyFans account knows this, notorious OnlyFans customer service is notoriously terrible, like horrible. Like, for example, when I moved countries, it took me a month to get them to change my payout fucking details. Like, that's how after like messaging their like support every day, they're shockingly bad at it. And yet so they're all mad that she got like instantaneous access to their customer support and was actually able to sit down and talk with them. But there's a clear push from OnlyFans to sort of go after these girls who are more on the influencer side, because that's where the money is, man. Like, you've got all these girls on Instagram or whatever who are minor celebrities or they're fucking Instagram models. They've got hundreds of thousands, like 500,000, if not 1 million followers. All of them are thirsty simps dying to see a bit of her titty.
Yeah.
And it's
that's why I wanted to make that sort of comparison at the beginning of the show, is that like there's a reason why she's popular. It's not I don't know who the hell is Bella Thorne, who cares, right? Well, the guy, $2 million says a lot of guys actually care about who the hell she is. So I thought it was funny when I was looking at a lot of these the videos. Everybody's like, I don't know who Bella Thorne is. Like, yeah, you do. You probably do. You just don't want to say that you do. I watched Lauren Chin on her show. She actually did a part of her show was dedicated to this whole ordeal, I guess. And of course, her co-host was like, "Well, I don't know who she is. I had to go look her up." No, dude, just go with it, okay?
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. It's like I changed my mind about Bella Thorne. Fuck her and fuck OnlyFans for groveling for her and other celebrities when sex workers are the ones who built this platform to be what it is. People like Bella will run it into the ground. Normally, who would care about how someone chooses to make money? Well, we can talk about that. But when her and other powerful celebrities are changing our business platform for the negative with zero consequences, it's pretty fucking terrible. Now, I like this one because it sort of leads me into the other thing, is that Bella Thorne was worth $12 million before this. Now she's worth $14 million, but she was worth $12 million before this. So Bella didn't have to do this. It's not like she was like hurting for cash.
No, that's the thing. It's like, I think with like maybe like you got to make the argument. Is it like, with quarantine restrictions and Hollywood shutting down, she's out of work. She wants some work, and it's just like a super easy way for her to like get an influx of cash,
right?
Or is it female nature? Like, oh, I can get like all this like attention and stuff by showing some side boob, and then bang, and capitalizing on it like that. It became pretty like so. See, Bella Thorne made the statement at the very beginning saying she was doing this for research purposes for a movie. The actual director that she said she was collaborating with put out a statement saying, no, we weren't. So like kind of like shooting that in the fucking foot. So
she was supposed, like I read that too. She was supposed to be doing this like as sort of like an understudy or something for like a documentary or for some kind of like movie she was going to be doing. Something like that. That was the story she put through. This is my absolute favorite one.
Yeah, Kieran Lee. I fucking love Kieran Lee. What a shit content.
And everybody else too. That is funny as hell.
And then Daniel Diamond underneath him's like face fucker.
There goes my monetization. And guys, please give me lots of super chats because
every time someone has me on their show, they're definitely getting monetized.
I am not getting this show monetized whatsoever. I couldn't possibly do it with this one anyway. So,
but Kieran Lee's an absolute lad. I love Kieran. He's a fucking champion. He's like, he saw it for what it was. Like, he's like, fuck, I'm gonna make this into a joke.
That is funny as hell. And then this was this is a second to the last one. Let me throw this one up. What a shoot content. This is bitch. I'm Bella Thorne. I love it.
Yeah.
Is this her? This is
actually Bella Thorne's Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, so this is Bella Thorne or whoever is tweeting for Bella Thorne. She says, "P.S. I'm meeting with OnlyFans about the new restrictions to find out why. This is fucked up. I'm sorry. Comment and I'm sorry. Comment any ideas or concerns you want to brought up on OnlyFans and send me your links, blah, blah, blah." And then just personally loving how you've been on the site under 2 weeks, and yet you can get personal meetings with OnlyFans support. There's sex workers been on this site for years and never get acknowledgement. I guess it's different rules for celebs. Yeah.
But this first tweet she's put out at the very top here.
Mm-hmm.
So she made this thread and is saying like, I think she also made another thread similar to this, saying, "Hey, drop your own to all the sex workers out there. Drop your OnlyFans link in the comments below, and I'll retweet you." And she didn't. She didn't retweet. She did this.
There's no way she's doing this on her own.
She did this a couple of days ago. So she put this tweet, and you had all these girls who were fucking hating on her jumped at the chance to get in that comment thread and drop their OnlyFans.
So they got some free advertising on probably, which went viral immediately, I'm sure.
Absolutely, because that's how the Twitter algorithm works. Is like, if you get the more comments and engagement you get on a thread, the more it shows up on people's feeds. Like comments are actually one of the things that can boost a tweet the most.
All right. I purposely held this one for last because it gets into what I want to talk about later, or in our sort of second phase here. This is interesting. Okay. Every celeb using OnlyFans for profit right now with no serious background in sex work should seriously donate their money back to sex workers in poverty. I don't know if it's poverty when I'm looking at them like, here's $30, here's $30, here's $30. So in sex work and poverty, specifically Black and Black trans sex workers, this oversaturation of money-hungry usage of OnlyFans is gross. Bella Thorne she broke the record. So what I wanted to talk about here, and this was sort of the second part, and I actually titled this whole thing. It's because I asked you last night when we were talking about doing the show. I asked you, do you consider yourself a sex worker? Like as working in the adult film industry, do you consider yourself a sex worker? And
my reply to you was, I mean, I guess technically, I guess I am. I mean, like, you could use it. You could use any number of words to describe what I do. You could call me a prostitute. That is an accurate description of what I do. You can call me a sex worker. That's an accurate description of what I do. You can call me a slut. That's exactly an accurate description of what I do.
You slut.
But my response to you, do I go around and label myself that way? Well, no. I call myself a porn performer.
Yeah. See, that's kind of where I was going to go with this, is like, I see, and I told you this last night, I see a lot of women that use that term because it's almost, it cushions the blow, right? It's like you're like, at least like as a guy, you can rationally go, okay, technically I'm a slut. Technically I'm a prostitute. Technically do I meet the definition for these things? As a guy, you're going to say, yeah, but that's me. You know, I can't deny it, kind of thing. But when I see women, and damn near every one of these girls in the tweets that you sent me, plus all the ones I was doing kind of research on, all refer to themselves as sex workers. And I'm seeing that as sort of an attempt or some kind of push to really validate or legitimize the fact that they're essentially prostitutes. And really that's what they are.
Yeah, and it's you only ever see them use, or at least in the trend the pattern I see is that these girls will use the term sex worker when they're as like activism, when it's like in an activism context, when they're demanding rights or they're demanding someone give up their income for them, or you know, like they're demanding a share of someone else's income or something like that, or they demand, you know, the term sex worker is used like kind of politically.
Yeah, it seems to me like, I agree, because a lot of. So let's look at some numbers here real quick before I go on to the sex worker topic, because back in March when COVID first hit and people started losing their jobs, there was a big kind of push. I think this was really it took root in the MGTOW community. It's long gone. It's all over now. But like, I remember back in March, maybe in April, people were saying, oh, well, now these women will finally get with these good upstanding guys who are electricians and STEM fields and construction and landscape, you know, whatever, you know, like they're looking for the guy who's got security and, you know, I have a recession proof job, right? That makes me more desirable. Now I'm the alpha male. And it's like, no, they all went to OnlyFans because they don't want to have anything to do with you when they can make $2 million over the course of a weekend. You know, or I mean, but do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think that Do you think that this will affect like the porn industry? Do you? Because I know that a lot of the porn, like you're on OnlyFans yourself, but like a lot of the girls, you told me on the last interview that a lot of these girls, they make the majority of their money on OnlyFans, and then they do those shoots to say, "Hey, I'm in the porn industry," kind of thing, and that sort of makes them more legitimate, I guess, on OnlyFans. So is now pornography going? Well, do you see? Maybe it's not yet, but do you see it becoming something where porn is just whatever legitimizes that girl's personality, her brand of me on OnlyFans?
Well, not really. So I'm going to talk about a couple of different things here. So first of all, because porn was around before OnlyFans, right? And then you had porn girls jumping on the OnlyFans bandwagon.
We will when it's gone.
Yeah. So what happened was kind of like girls who had lots of clout and lots of fans already, who've been in the industry for a while, when they jumped on the OnlyFans bandwagon, they basically just brought all their fans with them, and it was a way for them to directly monetize their already existing fan base on Twitter. Then what you have is newer girls who will shoot a porno to get clout, to get a following, and then leverage that new following and bring them to an OnlyFans account, right? To make, and those are the girls who kind of tend to make kind of an equal amount from paid shoots as well as OnlyFans accounts, right? Whereas like the girls who are more established, who have bigger followings, they make the bulk of their income from OnlyFans, right? But then you have the other category of girls, is you have girls who are not in porn at all, but you have girls who are monetizing their following. For example, they might be a cosplayer, right? They have an Instagram, or they have a Patreon, or whatever, where they're doing cosplay all the time, and then they'll, on their OnlyFans, they'll post sort of more risque cosplay, or maybe a nip slip or a boob here and there, right?
Right.
And then same with like Instagram models and these kind of things, and the Bella Thornes, et cetera, et cetera. Like these girls who are technically they're not in mainstream porn in any sense, are leveraging their following. Like,
have you heard that? And as I was sort of researching this story again, is I know that Bella Thorne was at least in some way involved in the LGBT community, and I also know that she was she's like, I believe she says she's bisexual, which surprise, surprise. And then she also she hasn't shot pornography. She hasn't been like in pornography, but she apparently she's directed some.
She directed a porno.
One porno, or just like
one porno. She directed one porno with two pretty big like mainstream performers. Yeah, and that was kind of like, so she's made the argument that like, oh, I've tried to destigmatize sex work and support the porn industry in the past because I directed this porno. Blah blah blah. It was actually interesting enough. There's another old like mainstream celebrity who is now in the porn industry, and that's Maitland Baxter Ward. She actually made the transition a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Where have I heard that name? Was she like a legitimate actress or something?
Yeah, legit. She was a legit actress. She was I can't remember what show. I cannot remember what show she was in, though. To be honest.
What was she in?
It was Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World.
The Maitland name reminded me of that.
I'm pretty sure it was
Redhead, right?
Yeah, Redhead. Yeah. Okay. And I've worked alongside her on set. She's fucking lovely. She's a great girl. But she
directs too.
No, she just acts.
She's right now.
Yeah, at the moment. But she our industry kind of likes her because she's not playing this like half foot in the water, half foot out of the water game. Right? She's like, all right, fuck it, I'm in porn.
I'm gonna do porn.
I'm doing porn, right? And I'm not fucking pretending that I'm not. You know? Whereas they're hating on Bella Thorne because they're playing this sort of like best of both worlds kind of game.
Right.
To answer your previous question, there's something else I wanted to drop in here. Sure. When you said, "Do you think this is going to be is going to damage the porn industry or whatever?"
Sorry.
No, it won't. Because, and here's the reason why. So there's already like there's I can right now I can name 4 other platforms which are basically direct competitors to OnlyFans that have started up from like other companies and things. And girls do, like everyone in the industry does tend to use multiple platforms. So like not everyone, but the smarter people will tend to, okay, if I've got all this stuff on my OnlyFans account, I'll also put this same stuff up on these other sites just in case this one bites the dust. Then I can direct my fans from this one to this one if and when it crashes, right? And you see the same thing with clip stores and whatnot. Because I've heard a rumor in our industry that OnlyFans are in a bit of tax trouble.
Ooh, that might be it. Do you think
you might see in the next 6 to 12 months, you might see them biting the dust?
Really?
Possibly, yeah.
Is it just simply because of mismanagement of money?
The rumor I've heard is simply because of mismanagement of money and taxes and stuff.
Even if it goes down, there'll be something that picks the ride. Well,
there already. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. There already is. There's we have AVN Stars, we have Brazzers Plus, we have Just for Fans, we have Foxy. There's like 4 other over right now. Just off the top of my head, there's 4 other alternatives that I could immediately jump to.
So the porn tubes are getting into this. Like what did you say? Brazzers was getting into it?
Yes, that's an interesting one. So Brazzers is an interesting situation because so Brazzers is the biggest brand under the company MindGeek. MindGeek are the company that own Pornhub and a bunch of tube sites. So you have the overarching company MindGeek. They own all these tube sites, and then they also own all these big production studios like Brazzers, Digital Playground, Reality Kings, and a few others. Right. So they own all of this stuff. What they did during the quarantine was they released their version of OnlyFans called Brazzers Plus, which is basically a clone of OnlyFans, but with their branding and logo and stuff. And part of the reason why they did that is that Brazzers has contract performers, and because no one was allowed to shoot because of the quarantine, so they've got all these people on the payroll who they're guaranteed like X number of scenes and this much income per month because they're contract stars, but they're not getting anything from these contract stars in return because they can't shoot any porn. But all these guys and girls who are contracted to them are making all this money and content on OnlyFans. So Brazzers and MindGeek were like, well, shit, like we want some of this.
Some action, yeah.
Like, these are our contracted performers. Why aren't we getting a piece of this pie? So they created Brazzers Plus, and then all their contract performers had to sign up for it.
Do you think that do you think that contract are you contracted?
No, I'm a free agent.
Free agent. Okay. So do you think that maybe in the future that will be something like if you start your OnlyFans, we get a cut of that kind of thing? Or do you think that they'll like write that into a contract?
Nah, you can't enforce that. You know, it's like no girl would, no one would like
would want to do that.
Yeah. I think everyone realize, anyone, even if they're new in this industry, they realize the potential of monetizing their own,
Well, I was thinking of it in terms of like, say, college athletes or something like that. You're not allowed to like get endorsements from anybody else, or you're not allowed to like that. It's funny to say like, but new girls get into porn and they want to do their own. It's like like college athletes, but I mean, like as far as a contractual thing is concerned, like if you're going to shoot with, I don't know, Brazzers or whatever the company is, that if you do so and you're like you're a big top name or something like that, then if you get OnlyFans, and you're technically, because they gave you that chance and it's your like distinct likeness, I guess, maybe your face or your cooter or whatever is your trademark, and so therefore they can say, well, we own that for X amount, or a percentage of that for X amount of years until such time, and then it ages out.
Yeah, I've never heard of anyone trying to really do an arrangement,
because I mean, it seems to me like that would be like if the porn tubes are making you famous because they gave you the chance, they gave you a shot to be in the porn, that experience is what made you more marketable as a free agent on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about?
It makes sense. I see. That's the point.
Maybe the marketer in me or the branding guy in me. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm just saying it occurs to me that it would occur to someone else. Put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
that's why I think this Brazzers Plus thing was there, sort of like it's kind of like a halfway between those two.
This is a good one. Here's Simplified comes back in. He says, "Who's the predators? Who's the prey? Could it be men? Capitalism is the hidden hand for those who know Adam Smith." Yeah. Okay. That was actually leading into this point that I had right here is, so at least 80,000 guys paid $20 for a monthly subscription to see Bella Thorne's naked body. Okay. That's how she got, well, now $2 million. So what is that? I get this all the time. I've had this discussion on here before when I talk about sort of like moral absolutists and everything. A lot of guys want to say, well, or I get this from like red pill women. Well, if men would just be better, or if they were just better people, or if they could just like keep their dicks in their pants, or they could have some self-control or personal responsibility. Yeah. And if they were just better men, then women would be better too. And I'm like, that might have been true in 1985 up to 1985 or somewhere around there. Okay. But as far as agency is concerned, is, women are going to respond to the market. Men are going to be the ones who are always going to be there. And there's, just because you're a good guy does not mean that 80,000 other guys aren't willing to pay $20 a month to see Bella Thorne's, firebush, right? Whatever.
Assuming the carpet matches
white. But this is kind of like I get what you're saying, Simplify, because a lot of guys I think want to believe like there's a side of the argument that says, well, if guys were just better, then women wouldn't do this. Oh, shame on you, man. Shame. And then there's the guys who feel shame. They're like, oh, I wish I could get out of this. I think I have it around here. I'll call up the it's not a tweet. It's a thing. Like I think I got it for 4chan or it was on Reddit. I'm not sure. But these guys who will get into this cycle of paying small fortunes to in some way have that connection with that girl. And that's what I wanted to talk about here is right now, the thing that I see that porn, that OnlyFans has, that porn does not have is that connection. Yeah. Remember I was talking about the fourth wall. You can't talk to a porn movie. You can only watch two people bang, right? That's what you get to do when you're watching porn. When you're on OnlyFans, that gives them that personal, like the fourth wall comes down. You can actually interact, assuming she is paying attention to you, which she's probably not. It's probably some dude in another room, but at least the fantasy or the belief that they're actually having some sort of like one-on-one with Bella Thorne that maybe they were jerking off to when they were 14 years old back in the day. So do you think that the appeal, like maybe the industry hasn't changed, but maybe the audience, maybe the viewer has changed and that changes the industry? Do you see any trends? Do you see that being?
Well, you might be on, I think you might be onto something there with because we got like a generation that is, what do you call it? Like internet native.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. They didn't
network. Yeah.
Like they were born with it. Like it was already around. Like the internet was already around and established when they were born. You know what I mean? That's sort of like the younger generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've learnt social interactions, or at least male to female interactions, through like the internet, like through apps and things like Facebook Messenger and Instagram DMs and Twitter DMs and this is how they were socialized. They weren't socialized by talking to people face to face in person. They were taught to socialize through chat rooms and like on Twitch and all these kind of things. And leading the same reason that you just talked about is as to why OnlyFans is successful is the same reason webcams are successful. It's because they have that interaction, that one-on-one interaction. Well, they think they're having that one-on-one interaction.
Yeah.
With the girl, and it breaks that wall down because I think the reason that is because this all sort of links together as the global sexual marketplace has become more skewed. Right, the 80-20 rule, shall we say, has kicked in a lot more. Yeah, I've seen this screenshot before.
I think I should. Maybe I brought this up yesterday on Rule 0. I think I did, but this has been making the rounds really since the middle of July 26th. And I've used this before. Again, I'm keeping this on my desktop right now because I'm using it as a resource for an essay that I'm writing for the Rational Mail. It says this: system admin here spent $4,000 on OnlyFans. So you want to know the kind of guy that pays, like we were just looking at that one guy who was like giving her $30. This is the guy who's like ready to give $4,000 on OnlyFans. So it's not only sexual. I fall in love with a girl on OnlyFans and I want her to feel that I'm going to do anything for her. That's your blue pill idealism right there. Like, oh, I will do anything for you, baby. I will satisfy that side of hypergamy, the alpha, or excuse me, the beta buck side. I'm your guy. I'm the guy that's going to help you out. I've got the money to do it. You're going to be secure, blah, blah, blah. And I think those guys with that mentality believe that that's going to get them sort of, the recognition that they're looking for. Maybe it's recognition that they're looking for. And so anyways, he says that I'm going to do anything for them. I then get obsessed and spend about half my monthly income on her. I come to a point where it makes me angry that she won't get to know me in real life, and I fall into a deep depression. I go through the depressed phase and masturbate, cry, etc. I delete her shit, and then I fall in love with the next one, and so on and so on. How many of you have the same addiction? How did you get out of it? And of course, everybody's like, what the hell's wrong with you? What the fuck's wrong with you? Well, it's like, yeah, I think that this is a fairly common occurrence right now. And that's why I said, is this the new audience?
Yeah. So I want to continue with the point I was making a second ago before you brought the screenshot up. So with the sexual marketplace being a lot more skewed now, right? Like I said before, with it, you have the 80-20 rules kicking in a lot, like on a global scale, right? Due to things like Instagram, for example, right? Like a pretty girl in butt fuck nowhere, Idaho, can put a few hot photos up on her Instagram, and she's getting DMs from professional athletes in like Los Angeles, for example, right? Like, so the guys in her small town aren't just competing with like Bill and Ted and Frank. They're competing with, millionaire over here in like another, who can fly her into town and like put her and like take her out on his yacht or whatever, right? That's kind of like, that's the reality of like the global sexual marketplace now. It's not localized. It's all like global now, right? Sexual
marketplace.
Like the top, like the hottest chicks, right? What does that mean? Like, what are one of the ramifications of that? One of the ramifications of that is that guys no longer have as many like social or sexual experiences with women because they're picking like guys far away. So they're not even considering these sort of dudes who are on their local level, right? And the other thing that it implies, or another causation of this, is guys are developing one-itis for these chicks they see on their phone, right? Whereas, like back in my day, or even your day, like a dude might develop one-itis for a chick in his town, and he might like buy her flowers and write her notes and put it in her locker, and
right.
This is how he would exhibit his one-itis.
That's a good concept. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Now the way he's exhibiting his one-itis is, I follow this girl on Instagram. Oh, I'd love to talk to her. I'll sign up to her OnlyFans. I'll get to chat with her. And then you lead them down, and they end up down that rabbit hole of the screenshot you just saw.
It's one-itis in the global sexual marketplace rather than a localized sexual marketplace. Like if you had one-itis in a localized sexual marketplace and there was only one girl that was there that you were like really attracted to, like your hometown or something, you live in a city of like, 10,000 people, and girls that are in your age demographic, whatever that is, let's just say 18 to 24, how many of those girls do you want to get with? How many of those girls are available? And how many of those girls that are available are you going to like develop some sort of soulmate one-itis for? Whereas when you have access to a global sexual marketplace, every girl that looks like your genetic celebrity is someone you're going. Then that's why this guy gets into this cycle. Man, it's brilliant. I got to write this down. Yeah, true. So now, one-itis. When I was writing the first chapter of my first book about there is no one, or the fallacy of the one, it was based on a local or like who you would meet like at a club kind of thing, or who you'd meet at college, or who you'd meet like in your high school or something, like, oh, she's the one for me. I can't live without her. So you imagine being able to recycle that over and over and over again. How much money would you pay for the sort of chemical rush, I guess, that comes from those feelings all the time? And that when this guy like talks about it as being an addiction, I would say that it's almost literally is an addiction, in the sense that it's like a dopamine hit, or it's whatever the endorphins are. Like dopamine really, by the way, is just what is the precursor to the endorphins that make you feel good. So it's like that. It's like, what is that? Does that then become something that like locks you into this negative feedback loop so that you're always falling in love and falling out of love, like this guy is saying? But it's not just love, it's she's the one. Because when he's like, I want her to feel like I'm special, I'm the chosen one, I'm the one who'll do anything for her. That right there is one-itis in a big way. And the guy cycles through one after the other after the other. Yeah, no wonder we have like crazy, kids out in the street, like, running over people and shooting people and stuff.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, all that kind of. We're here giving you the real important issues. We're talking about OnlyFans when there's riots going on in Portland. And
I know. I do that all the time. I remember when COVID came out and everybody was losing their minds, and I was doing shows on like spinning plates, and people were like, "How can you talk about spinning plates at a time like this?" And suddenly, OnlyFans has a 75% increase in signups. That's why I talk about red pill stuff in the middle of a pandemic, because there's always something that crosses over, just like Bella Thorne. Hey, this is a good one. ML throws this one at us. He says, this seems to show an erosion of the buffers of hypergamy. Yeah, in a way, there is no limit for the limitation of provisioning anxiety in women. Am I right? I think that, ML, I get where you're going with this, because every one of these tweets that has been thrown out here that is pissed off at our good friend Bella, it has been rooted in the idea that she's taking food out of their mouths, right? Like taking something away from it. And in a sense, they're not wrong, because if there's 80,000 guys paying $20 a month to see Bella Thorne's side boob in black and white, that means there's 80,000 guys that aren't paying them $30 after $30 after $30 as tips.
Well, here's the argument I'll make to that. Like, they talk about, you'll see girls make this contradictory statement. Like, in this situation, they're all tweeting and getting pissed like it's a zero-sum game, right? Like, oh, she's got 80,000 subscribers or whatever the fuck it is, but like, that's dudes who would have been subscribing to me otherwise. Well, not necessarily. And the other thing is that a lot of these dudes subscribe to multiple chicks, so they they'll subscribe to Bella Thorne. They'll probably already subscribe to 5 other chicks or whatever, right? They have multiple girls in their OnlyFans feeds. But the irony is that these same girls will, when there's not this kind of drama going on, they'll be tweeting stuff like, "Oh, we're not like we're not competing against one another, babe. We're all like in this together. Like sex workers support sex workers, and we'll lift each other up, and retweet each other's shit." But then all of a sudden, like, Bella comes around, and all of a sudden that disappears, like that goes out the window.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's because she's doing better than them. It's like, and she's getting more attention than them. It's like, wait, this is unfair. Like, and it's sort of like, I'll add one more thing to this.
Okay,
it's kind of funny that like this. It's kind of not exactly, but it's kind of analogous to the way that like men get attention versus women getting attention. Yeah, they're kind of getting a taste of their own medicine, but none of them have the self-awareness to see this. None of them will see that. Like, a good example would be like me as a male performer getting like OnlyFans signups versus like a female performer getting OnlyFans signups, or and tips and things like this. It's kind of on the same scale as to what Bella Thorne's done versus these girls. It's like, well, yeah, she just played the game better than you, honey. Like,
yeah,
she has an audience to do it with.
I got so much grief for this post or this tweet that I put out. I said, you know what? You have to respect the hustle. Sorry. She had the gravitas. She had what guys wanted. She had what at least 80,000 guys were willing to pay $20 a month to see, right? Even if it was just nonsense, that demand was proven right then and there. So here she goes from 0 to 1 million in 24 hours. And then later on, 2 million. So when you see that, the demand is there. The guys wanted to see that enough. Let's just say this: enough guys for her to make $2 million. They knew exactly who she was. So when you see that, and when women see that, yeah, I mean, you're seeing this sort of competition, and a lot of guys will say, well, she's a skank, or she's this, or she's that, or yeah, she's a $2 million skank because that she played the game right, and that she said, okay, here's the rules. These are the rules that OnlyFans puts out. I'm going to do this. Now, did she deliver? Is she doing fulfillment? Probably not as well as these other girls who want to just ride her coattails so that they can get some, action. It's just they're getting her leftovers right now. But in the meantime, she's $2 million richer. Now, I'm not saying all these women are making that kind of cash, but when you see that a girl like that can make that kind of cash, then you're like, like that's what they're really at. It shows you really what they're after is that big fat payday. If they can just sort of figure out how to get these guys to kick down the money.
Yeah, and they'll it's. I find it kind of. Let's go to this question before I bring up.
Let me go real quick because this kind of dovetails into what we're talking about. He says this seems like competition anxiety in some sense. Yes, it is. I don't think women are built for competition in any form. Am I right? I would say yes, but they are into intrasexual competition, meaning they very much compete with each other, as we've seen through all of these. Actually, this has been an education in how women will intrasexual combat amongst women.
Yeah, and it's there's a bit of irony in here because these girls will become these girls are all calling out Bella for scamming dudes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not the girls that that we've screenshotted up on this page right now, on the stream right now. But I know there are girls that have been calling her out for scamming her followers, who have a team of men who respond to their DMs on their OnlyFans account.
So the women themselves have handlers that are actually making those tweets to Bella Thorne.
They're not even handlers, man. They're it's
pimps.
the way, and it's not pimps. And no, here's how it works. There are numerous companies in our industry that their only job is to run girls' OnlyFans accounts for them.
Yeah, sounds like Andrew Tate and the rest of these guys. Although
it's very similar. It's basically
they're doing OnlyFans, but they've been doing this long before OnlyFans came along. That's why when OnlyFans sort of went big, or became at least a household name back in March, I tried to tell Andrew, I said, just how are you going to respond to this? What's going to go with this? And he's like, well, it's not so much about the girl. It's not so much about the ease of doing it. It's how you do it and who's behind you while you're doing it. So I see guys in the chat right now talking about how great Belle Delphine is. Yeah, because she's got a handler behind her that knows what you chumps want. Yeah. There's guys, it's not so much women love the attention. They love the beta orbiters. They love the affirmation and all the good feelings and the chemical cocktail that they get, the chemical rush they get when somebody goes, they're so pretty. Here's $30. Oh, really? I am. Thank you. All I got to do is look good and show you a nip slip once in a while, and I can make a lot of money. Wow, that's great. But the girls that make the top dollar are the guy, or have a guy behind them. Even and I know John's in the chat right now, but we were on Twitch one time, and I think we were doing a breakdown video, and he was talking to this one girl, and you could just sort of see off in the side, you can see shadows, and it was a dude that was over there, who was her boyfriend or a coach or whoever who was handling her. And I think maybe that's true. I mean, do you think it's more of a teamwork kind of thing? Is he guys who understand chumps' natures better than women?
Yeah, there's not. I will say this right now. Not all the girls are like that. I know there are. I do personally know a few really big name porn stars who are literally the ones that handle every aspect of their OnlyFans account. So there are some out there who legitimately do it, and they're not ripping off their fans, selling them a dream in any way, shape, or form, really. You're literally talking to her. But I would probably say at this stage, the overwhelming majority of bigger accounts are being run by these other companies. So it's dude sets up a company. He has a bunch of guys under his payroll who have a phone or they have a computer, and they're like, okay, you get paid. They earn a percentage commission on every tip they bring in, on every tip and a pay-per-view message they sell. So these guys will be, they're on the job around the clock. They set these guys up to this guy takes from 8 a.m. till fucking on 4-hour shifts, 8 a.m. till 12 p.m., 12 p.m. to 4, and they'll have 4 different dudes running her account throughout the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always someone
always there. Yeah.
Because the girls have fans from all over the world. So if they're not online, if they're asleep, they're not making money. Right. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of accounts that are run like this.
Yeah. Unless your Twitch account is about you sleeping and then you make money while you're sleeping. Yeah. Let's see, what else do I got here? I've got a list of questions here that I wanted to throw out there. Okay. So here's the thing: is guys are going to ask me this. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there because we were just talking about intrasexual competition. So you've got women we just saw this a minute ago. These girls are mad at Bella Thorne, and I think that one of the reasons that they're pissed off, first of all, it's the money. They see that all that money gets pulled out of the system that they don't have a shot at. So of that $1 million, how much could they have gotten had she not coming in and grabbed the bag and ran? And you'll even see women say like, well, if that's what you're going to do, fine. But now we're all screwed because OnlyFans didn't have the money in escrow to back it up for chargebacks and all this other stuff. Now they can't give you a tip for more than $50. Maybe you know this. What was the average tip for one of these girls for just like an average chick? Was it above $50?
I couldn't tell you what the average was because every girl's a bit different, and they'll every girl sort of. You set what the expectations you set with your fans at the very beginning, trains them to sort of carry that behavior onwards. So some girls will tip well below that, and then other girls will be like, no. If you want me to I don't know, rate a dick pic or something,
mm-hmm.
You got to tip me minimum this amount, otherwise I'm not even talking to you. And they make those rules pretty clear at the very beginning.
Another point. I'm glad you brought this up, Alessandro. He says the most beautiful girls recently disappeared from seeking arrangements to move into OnlyFans because they don't have to have a sugar daddy. They have tens of thousands of sugar daddies if they want to.
Yeah. And you'll see a lot, I think, especially here in LA, if you swipe through Tinder, every second girl has either here's my premium Snapchat or sign up for my OnlyFans in their Tinder bios. So.
Yeah. That's I was talking with John, who is in the chat somewhere around now. And we were talking about seeking arrangements, and we were talking about how the dating market has changed, like the sexual marketplace. So like you were just saying a minute ago, we're dealing with a global sexual marketplace, certainly with OnlyFans, certainly with seeking arrangements, certainly with Instagram and what else is there? I like Bumble or Tinder. Tinder almost seems tame now. It almost seems like, oh, Tinder. Yeah, I remember that when I was 12. Whatever. But it's interesting to me that what's happening in this global sexual marketplace is also being affected by things like OnlyFans. Because why would women want? Like I did this. There's a girl. I'm sorry, I didn't catch you. I think her name was Michelle or something like that. I've got a couple of girls in the chat, or at least two that I'm aware of. One of them said that it's a global sexual marketplace right now, but people like to stay local, and it's true because it's easier to stay at home. You don't have to go all over the world. All you have to do is have the right technology and the right reach and the right social media. And OnlyFans really facilitate. It made. I would say there's probably no other. I mean, Tinder did something like this, but I think there's no other technology that really changed the sexual marketplace like OnlyFans is changing it right now. And maybe it goes under, but whatever comes after it will probably change it even more substantially. Because again, if I've got a boyfriend here who's managing my account, I'm making, 6-figure income. I'm 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, somewhere around there. Why go to school? Why even bother with any of this crap? Why do I want to spend 8 years in school to become a doctor or a nurse or something like that when I can cash out in 4 years with $4 million or whatever, if you're good at it, let's just say. And so how is that changing? How is that changing women's ideas about themselves? We always talk about how women have these sort of overblown egos as a result of having simps give them $30 after $30, right? Or give them $4,000 and then move on to the next one that they have one-itis for. How is that changing the sexual marketplace for guys right now when they're going into the clubs or they're going wherever, schools or social, whatever, however you guys are running game in your local area, in your local market, your local sexual marketplace is now affected by the global sexual marketplace for the girls that you're trying to get with in your local sexual marketplace. And so I think her name was Michelle. She was saying, it's just simply easier. Like, why get a passport? Why go do anything? Why go anywhere when all I got to do is hit the gym and show my ass off, 4 to 6 hours a day, if that, right. And then enjoy it while you're doing it, because they're feeding off the attention and they're feeding off of the affirmation that comes from these guys who are just throwing money at them for doing it. And it's almost like these girls can be strippers, but without the live interaction, right? Like what girl wouldn't want to live the stripper lifestyle, like to make that kind of money, but not have to deal with the creeps that are in the clubs, right?
Yeah, it's all the positives and none of the negatives.
Right. It's made it easier, I think. So
the only drawback is that if she's an actual stripper, then she might get to meet like the bikey, like the motorcycle gang member.
Yeah, she might get to meet,
and then she ends up fucking him.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only drawback. Like, she doesn't get to meet that guy who runs the strip club, who she might end up dating.
In my 4th book, I outline this a little bit. It's called what I call the hustle economy. We've moved from the gig economy into the hustle economy, and OnlyFans is definitely part of the hustle economy. What we're doing right now, technically, on I'm doing a channel, I do whatever. Like anything that's not related to my book is really kind of like the hustle economy. So it's like, what's your side hustle? It used to be like you need a job, you need 2 incomes and a side hustle to really make it today, right? Mm-hmm. And now I think everybody is sort of leaning over into their side hustle as their main source of work. So imagine you take this away, suddenly OnlyFans just drops flat. You're screwed, man. I mean, well, what are you going to do? Suddenly you go from making a 6-figure income to making $0. Yeah. And then your ego is also wrapped up in that as well. I don't know. I don't want to like prognosticate and I don't want to feed anybody any more black pills than they already got right now. But the other question, the other side of this is I wanted to point out is, because a lot of guys are going to ask me this. They're going to go, well, what about the sisterhood uber alles, right? What about like girls who like to have, they have that community, or I've said this before, is women tend to have their psyches tend to be more communitarian. And that communitarianism, let's just say, leads them to socialism, really, but is more about sort of like the sisterhood or the tribe of human beings that have vaginas, right? That's the sisterhood uber alles. And then, but within that sisterhood, that's where you see the intrasexual competition, because people are going to go, well, aren't they just like, evil bitches, and they just like want to backstab each other? And what is it? A misogynist is a man who hates women as much as women hate women. And but that competition doesn't cease. It's just that it's more about their, like the tribe, that was it, team woman, right? The tribe of women. So what happened, and this is my theory anyways, is that you get Bella Thorne, who's, semi-tribe. She's slutty hot, let's just say. And when Bella Thorne takes off her makeup, she's not an unattractive girl without makeup, right? I think she's like 21 or 22 right now. I'm not really sure what her actual age is, but because she sort of dresses herself up, and she dresses, she's like moldy locks, she's kind of like that kind of hippie, earthy kind of, she grows her armpit hair out and shit.
Moldy locks.
Moldy locks. I'm talking about the girl, like what's the girl with the dreadlocks, like white girls with dreadlocks? That's what you call them, moldy locks. I thought you knew that. So she's outside the sisterhood. She's outside. Well, she's not outside the sisterhood. She's outside that tribe, the tribe of OnlyFans. And then here comes this foreign woman into the tribe of OnlyFans. They probably would have been happy to have her in that tribe of OnlyFans girls if she'd just behaved herself. But she came here and she just grabbed all the money and everything, just took food out of everybody's hand and took off with it. And now if she'd have played her cards correctly and come into that sort of the OnlyFans tribe of women, and come into that and played the game a little bit for maybe a little longer, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, she would have been making a lot of money, and she could have helped some other people along the way. She might not have made it all at once, but she could have very easily have picked up all that money and took off with it. I think she just, because of the way that she did it, it was too much, too soon, too fast kind of thing. It
was too cheeky. It was like she sort of exposed the game so obviously.
There we go.
So it was just like, and that's another thing that they're really pissed about. It's like she just exposed the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. Like, and that's what the guys are talking about. Yeah, exactly. And when I talk about alpha fucks, beta bucks, when we talk about hypergamy, and this guy was just talking about this a minute ago, he says, what did ML say? He said, this seems to show an erosion of buffers of hypergamy. Yeah, it is. But it's more just like what you just said. It's an exposure of that opportunistic nature, right? I don't know, because I see you joke around sometimes on your Twitter where you have like porn star girls who are like doing their twerk thing or what. I don't even know who they are, but you like those girls that the video I'm talking about, where you're just kind of joking around with them and they seem like they really like you. Like there's actually some sort of like, you guys get along together pretty well, but they just want that attention kind of thing. And it's easy for me as a guy to go and say, well, it's all about alpha fucks and beta bucks, or men love idealistically, women love opportunistically. And I can say that till I'm blue in the face, and women will throw rocks at me, and even guys will throw rocks at me until something like this happens. I tell guys this, like when they ask me, they'll say, well, how do I unplug my friend? He's really in a bad place, but I really want to, I want to evangelize the red pill to him so he doesn't make the bad mistakes that I had made. And they always say, well, he's resistant to it, or he hates me now, or he wants to fight me because he thinks I'm a misogynist, or he thinks that I'm a Trump supporter, or whatever it is. I'm the enemy all of a sudden. And I tell them this, I say, you need to wait for your moments. Wait for the moments where you can see things in the news, or you see things happen in your personal life, or maybe in your family, or something happens to a friend that you guys know. Point those things out and ask them the question, like, what do you think about that? Or why do you think that happened? And lead them sort of like to the point that you want them to get to. This is one of those times right here, right now, with when Bella Thorne comes in and I don't know who else could have done this, but wasn't Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion? Who was the other?
I thought
my OnlyFans not too long ago.
Who's the girl that sang that WAP song? Is that Cardi B?
Megan Thee Stallion or something like that?
Someone, one of these rappers was like thinking about. I think she was going to create an OnlyFans, and she talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen anything though. I imagine if she had, then we would know about it by now. Like there would have been some big fucking news article about it.
Yeah. So when you see things like that, is it Cardi? Maybe it was Cardi. Megan Thee Stallion. That's who it was. She was shot. This is good. Somebody said Cardi B, but then somebody said, what was it? It was Megan Thee Stallion shot herself in the foot, right? Because of that. Yeah, I think that when
I like John from MLD John's the corniest old fogies.
Yeah, Megan,
you're older than me, John.
Yeah, okay, sorry, the Stallion. Yes, dude. If it's not like black metal or Swedish death metal, I probably don't know probably don't know who it is. Sorry. So, anyways, getting back to the competition thing is, so now you've got this girl that comes in, but not only does she take the money and run, but now she exposes the opportunism that's there. And I think what happens is, like, I think a lot of the girls worry that their pay pigs, or the guys that are, fronting them the money, they're going to get wise to this. They're going to, oh, is this the real deal? Look, am I going to get screwed? Because it's not just about the changes in OnlyFans. It's not just about the fact that they can't get $50 tips now, or that they have to get paid on the month instead of the week. It's about exposing the game. And I think really what the bigger fear amongst the girls who are making a living at this is that those guys who are on their roll are going to go, well, is she going to do that to me? I'm paying $20 a month for, I don't know, whoever we were just looking at on their accounts, I think they're worried that their subscribers are going to dump them because they're afraid that they'll get the same treatment that Bella Thorne gave to hers.
Yeah, exactly. And if they think about it for more than like 5 seconds, they'll realize, wait a minute, there's no way she could have been messaging all these guys.
Yeah,
on her own. Well, maybe the girls I'm subscribing to aren't actually the ones messaging me as well.
And I'll tell you what the more pathetic thing is their fears are probably completely unfounded. Because all these guys, I don't care. Just keep talking to me. Just show me your boobs and smile and tell me, like, how was your day, honey? That's what they're really at. Because again, that's what they're looking for, is that interaction, the breakdown of that fourth wall.
Exactly, man. They're looking for some kind of connection.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this might sound really bad, so I'm going to try and be very careful the way I phrase this. But you talk about like guys loving idealistically, right? They have this sort of Disney model of what love should be like, right, in their heads. And I remember thinking this the other day, like, what most men want is they want a woman to love him the same way that their dog loves them, right?
Okay.
Where they just come home and she's pleased to see him. She wants to snuggle up next to him, have something to eat, chill out, watch the TV, unconditional love, you know, and they don't give her any grief. Okay, maybe she poops on the carpet every now and then, but that's it, right? That's realistically, that's the kind of relationship a lot of these guys just want from a woman. And OnlyFans is a place where they can they can at least get the pleasantness,
the waifu experience,
right? If they can get a woman acting pleasant to them without the drama and the shit tests that go along with, like, without them having to prove that they are
the burden of performance with no burden of performance. Yeah, I'm glad you came up with that, because I've said that about strippers in the past. The most successful strippers that I have known personally are the ones that can provide sort of that personalized experience. Like, they know your name when you come into the strip club because you're probably a regular, right? But or even if they don't know you, they sit on your lap and they pretend like they do know you. And it's not just about the $20 lap dance, right? It's about, like, how was your day? You know, the kind of attention that those guys would never, ever get in real life under any other circumstance. And I talked about this in Transactional versus Validational Sex, which, by the way, that link to that essay is in the description below. But for some guys, I would say for the vast majority of guys, even, because, we talk about the 80-20 rule, right? The 20% of guys who can get laid, maybe it's important for them to, like, have that sort of love connection, or that personal kind of, like, connection, or they get sex based on genuine desire with their girlfriends, with just the plates that they're spinning. But the rest of the guys, 85%, they never experience that at all. So it's usually like, what do I got to pay to make you pay attention to me? And so as a result of that, they tend to focus, they tend to, let's say, cater their game to, and by game, I mean just like how they think it's best to go about getting a girlfriend or get with somebody, is to be serviceable, to be the kind of guy who's going to be there forever. Like that guy who was in that one post that I showed. It's like, I want her to think that, or want her to know that I will be there no matter what, kind of thing. So here's $4,000. And so you get to that point where it's like, if that transaction is real love to those guys. So they don't care that the girl doesn't have any real affection for them. It's all an act. Like I said, the most successful strippers, and probably the most successful OnlyFans girls, have that connection. Here, I'm giving away the form, ladies. If you have an OnlyFans account, here's how you go to six figures, right? You give them that. You give them the idea that you actually care about how their day went, or what you were saying. Like you're the dog that's waiting for them at the door when they come home from a really bad day at work, and you're like, "How you doing? What can we do now? That you're like, oh, how was your day? Let me touch you. Let me put." And that doesn't happen online, obviously. And really, unless a stripper touches you, you're not allowed to touch a stripper. She can put her arm over you or whatever. She can do whatever. That kind of stuff. That kino. That's like a connection that 80 to 85% of guys will never get based on genuine desire. They will only get it based on the transaction. So if this guy has 20 after 20 after 20, and he's going to, or make it rain for me all the time, or he's going to give me $30 for a tip, the girls that are going to make that work the best for them are going to be the ones who have that kind of like personal connection where they're talking to them. I think it was Andrew Tate was saying that, like the girls that work for him, it's not so much about the sex as it is about the personal and the interaction, the interpersonal interaction. Because that's what these guys, they do. And it's really kind of sad in a way, because that's just, we're so isolated. We like to think that the internet is this big, extroversion, when in fact it's very much a big introversion, but it feels like an extroversion. Mm-hmm. And so these guys, and I said this, I think I said this when we were talking about, I think I talked about this with John on Wednesday, is you get to a point where that transaction becomes your definition of love. Like I'm lovable so long as I can keep up this providing, so long as I can keep up this revenue, so long, if I make more money, I'll be even more lovable. And it's not a love, it's not a connection based on genuine desire. It's based on what you can provide. And so what Bella Thorne did by coming into all of this is expose that. And I think the girls already knew that, and they're worried that the guys are now becoming aware of that and going, it's really all an act. It's really, you're going to get one-itis for me. You're going to get pissed off. Somebody else is going to be more important because they make more money than you do. And I'm going to pay more attention to them than I'm going to pay attention to you. And therefore you're going to get pissed off. You're going to cry. You're going to get depressed. You're going to jerk off, and you're going to go find somebody else, and you're going to repeat the process all over again, rather than seeing like really what's going on. I think the girls are kind of worried about that transactional nature, because if you make that kind of money and that's your definition of love, who cares, right? Who cares if she's, if I'm 65 and she's 25 and she looks hot, as long as she loves me, here, I'll make it rain, kind of thing. And I think that ends up becoming, particularly these guys who have the money to do that, to spend $4,000. That's their definition of love.
And what? It's the interesting thing is, whenever you hear, or see rather on Twitter, these girls talking about their fans and talking about like these interactions. If someone, for example, would critiques like this business model, shall we say? Someone ever critiques this business model on Twitter, the way they will always phrase it is, "Oh, I love my fans who support sex workers."
Right.
That's how they will always phrase it, and it's because like they're looking at it like, "Oh, he's supporting me so I can do what I love."
Yes.
Like as if she was like,
I'd be doing this if I wasn't getting paid.
Right, as if she was the trophy wife of some millionaire who is allowing her to like explore her passion for piano. It's not that. It's not the same thing. It's really not the same thing.
Those women are not, well, when they get into this, they're not seeking mastery. It's not that they're trying to find, like, they're not, like you said, try to be a concert pianist, right? That's not their passion is to spread their legs and wear pretty clothes. And John showed, and John did you see my episode on Wednesday when John showed me that one clip of this girl who was a sugar baby? And she was showing her like here's the $1,000 tennis shoes, right? And she's being interviewed by this other girl, and don't watch it because it's just nothing but vocal fry. It's like, it's and it sounds like horses like talking to each other, but it's there's nothing bugs me more than vocal fry in women. And I know, because everybody says I have it too. Like when I'm talking, like when I sort of devolve into like Huntington Beach surfer guy, that's when people say I have it. But so anyways, but the girl was talking about how, her definition of like her relationship. She was young, fairly attractive. I wouldn't say she was like on my scale. She'd probably be about 7.5. She wasn't that good looking, but for a guy who believes that transactional sex or transactional love is the legitimate love, then I can certainly see how she'd be that way. So my last question is this, and we're coming up on the last 15 minutes here. My last question is this: are all women now sex workers? All women, or do they all? Let's put it this way: do all women have the potential to become sex workers by order of degree?
Absolutely. Yeah, like it's a basic definition. Like, are you exchanging like sex
for?
Well, not even not like to one degree or another. Like, what you don't have to be actually exchanging sex with the person you're talking to. Like, are you exchanging sexuality? Shall we say
the potential
for sex, like, or the illusion of sex? Are you exchanging that for money? Well, yeah. Then you're a sex worker. Like,
in some way,
like sugar babies are all sugar babies are sex workers. OnlyFans girls are sex workers. Webcam girls are sex workers. Prostitutes are sex workers. Like high class escorts are sex workers. Like porn stars are escorts. Not that different. Like, I mean, it's like they're all just varying degrees of the same thing.
I think it's because women's concept of love is rooted in opportunism. I think that when women see that they can make a lot of money off of that kind of stuff, whether being a sex worker, however you want to define that, whether it's OnlyFans or you're just on Instagram, I don't know. When they see the kind of money that you can make just by even just being flirty, you don't even have to take your clothes off. Clearly, you don't even have to take your clothes off or show, have a burger shot or whatever. You don't have to do anything like that. You just have to be somebody who's there. It's almost like counseling, right? For this generation after generation of lonely, sexless incel men. And again, like the whole incel thing is like, it's not about the sex. Like incels can get sex. They can go pay for sex if they wanted to. That's not what they're after. They don't spend $4,000 on a chick because they're getting laid. They're not getting, that guy that put that post up, he's not getting laid. He even said he's not getting laid. He just wants her to think that he's special in some way. And so is that sex work? Because you're not banging anybody. Maybe you're not even showing your body off all that much. You're just there. Maybe you're a counselor. Are these women? My other question was this: are these women entrepreneurs?
Well, I'll answer the first part first. The counseling side of it, I'd still count them as sex workers, man. Because you ask, I have a lot of friends who are escorts.
Mm-hmm.
You ask any one of them, and especially high class female escorts. You ask any one of them. What the majority of their job involves, and it involves counseling and talking to the dude.
Mm-hmm.
They literally will pay, these dudes will pay them $400 an hour just so they can sit there and tell her how annoying his wife is, or how much he misses his kids, or how stressful his job is, just so he can fucking sit down and have a woman listen to him and not give him shit back.
Right. Right.
They just want to fucking talk to somebody about their problems.
Yeah, they want somebody to show them the milk of human kindness.
Yeah, and there's so much of their work is based around that, and the sex part for higher class escorts. He's got these hosts. Gotta love you, John. Maybe 20% of their job is actually sex.
Mm-hmm.
The other 80% is just this sort of counseling and talking to dudes.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was thinking that pornography and OnlyFans will coexist, because the sex part is really taken over by, it's always been taken over by the pornography side of things. Yeah. And again, technology, as you were saying before. But then the OnlyFans side of it is almost that's the sex need. Whereas the OnlyFans side of it is sort of the psychological need. The affirmation,
the validation
side of things. And again, you only get that so long as you can afford to put the money in the account.
Yeah, I remember hearing once that a lot of women's insecurities come from a fear of having no security, right? And a lot of men's insecurities come from a fear of exclusion and not having validation, or and that relates back to not being able to basically breed.
Well, that's the reproductive problem. Yeah,
not being able to pass on the genetics and stuff. And so I think that's where this is obviously where it stems from. It's these dudes are oh, no girl pays enough attention to me to even so I this isn't a conscious thing, it's a subconscious thing, it's a hindbrain thing. It's I'm not getting any attention from a woman, so I'm that validation is not being.
Well, yeah, I mean, you heard the guys who called in to give us all kinds of hate yesterday on Rule 0, right? I mean, every last one of them had a speech impediment, or they had there was something that was not quite right, whether it's with their lives or whatever else. It was never I hate, I actually liked doing that show. I thought that was good, but I was actually kind of hoping for some more pushback on actual issues or actual things that we get into, rather than every single time it becomes a therapy session. Help me. How do I get out of this? Yeah,
man. And one of the things that kind of bugs me at the moment, we're just kind of relating to talking about haters that we were talking about yesterday. I've got a girl who's an affiliate of mine for my book, right? Mm-hmm. She's a porn star, so if she tweets out a promo for my book, I find it both hilarious and kind of sad. The number of dudes who will reply to her tweet and be like, "Oh, this is a scam. I can't believe you're promoting such scammy material. Like, why would you stoop this low?" Right? Me, a guy with like 5 years plus experience professionally having sex, is trying to teach the layman, okay, here's some things you can do to improve your sex life, improve your life with women, improve like all this stuff. Their response is, "Oh, it's a scam." She puts out, "Hey, join my OnlyFans and I'll talk to you personally and like inflate your ego. Take my fucking money." I'm like, some guys just don't want to be saved, man.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what guys will. Well, I mean, again, it's an emotional decision too, because I think that ML, we already answered this, dude. Is if you have transactional sex with your girl, is she then a sex worker? Yeah.
If there's if there's not genuine desire, then she's
more or less. But I was gonna say is like I've used this story in the past, and I won't say I'm guilty of this too, but like when I am choosing women to go do like promote like liquor promos and stuff, or when I'm looking for poor girls, or I'm looking for somebody, I have to sort of cater those girls to whatever the event is. So I have to have kind of like this sense of like, okay, it's at a goth club, so we got to get these girls, or we're at a high end martini fest, so I got to get the classy girls in the black cocktail outfits. Like, who's going to look good? But more than that, I'm looking for good looking girls. Don't get me wrong, but I'm looking for women who can relate with that particular audience, or the people who I want to come up to the bar or the promo or whatever we're doing and like be, can interrelate. And I use this example as like, I can remember when I was living in Orlando and I was walking through the Orlando Mall one time, Florida Mall one time, and they, how they have those kiosks in the big, throughways there. Well, it's in pretty much every mall in America has the big, the carts that sort of sit in the hallways there in the food court or something. And there was a mother and daughter team, I guess, who were working at one of these kiosks, and they had those like little head massager things, or they had those little roller massagers that you put on your back kind of thing. And like the head massagers, little wires and shit like that go on your head. And they had like just like the wood, here's a hand massage or whatever. Here's some oil. It was basically like almost like, what was it? The massage store or something like that. And so what they would do is like, guys, like they would specific, and I watched this because I was eating at the food court one time. I was watching them do this, and they would specifically target guys who were like by themselves, didn't have a girlfriend or weren't attached to anybody. And they would walk by, and one of them would just grab them like, by the arm, or one would just put one of those things on the guy's head. And the mom would go, "Doesn't that feel good? Isn't that great?" Like they're demoing the things right there, right? Or they have like the little roller thing on your back. Isn't this great? Wouldn't your girlfriend love this? But it's that touch, it's that affirmation, it's that the idea that there's familiarity and connection. Now, if you're a guy, there's no way on planet Earth you could do that. You couldn't run that kiosk and go, "Hey, lady, come over here. Let me put this on." You could not do that. Women can do that, and one of the reasons I think that they can do that, particularly in this generation, is because they're so starved for it. They're so starved for connection. They're so starved for touch. Kino, Kino is probably it's a PUA term, but Kino stands for kinesthology, right? And kinesthetics, yeah, kinesthetics. And Kino's not just for seduction. It can be very powerful in seduction, but like old people need touch. Like if you're in an assisted living, they have to touch them and like hug on them and because that like gets the positive, it raises immunities and things like that. I came from
babies need it.
Yeah, babies too. Yeah, like in the NICU, like OBGYN, NICU nurses are supposed to pick up the babies and hug the babies because they thrive. They will be better off. Let's just say they produce, their immunities, I guess, or the tension reliever, hugging someone, or even just hugging your dog, right? That like you relax, like, okay. And it's something about that connection. And you got to realize that there's at least one generation, maybe two generations who like are completely devoid of that right now. And what's happening, I think, is that you see these women who are making money hand over fist because of that dynamic, because there's no connection. If you guys have any questions, now's the time to throw them out. We're down to about the last 6 or 7 minutes here. So if you guys have any questions about what we've talked about, let me know today. And we'll get out of here in another 6 minutes, I guess. But I just wanted to say thanks for doing this. This has been a really really good show. I think it's informational, right? I think a lot of people saw this and they go, "Oh, good, they're going to talk about Bella," but it's there's so much more behind all of this.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to say is this, and I'm working on this. One of the reasons I'm writing this essay, I kept holding that onto that quote. How do we get guys out of this? How do you get these? Where's the way out of hell for these guys? Because it's like this self-perpetuating cycle that keeps going and going and going and going. And I'm working on something like that. I'm working on like how do you find a way, out of it. Simply Fly says, past show, you were calling male feminists out to a panel of testosterone.
He's referring to the
you. Oh, okay. That came to you. You guys were stroking you before talking about the issue. Do you know what he's talking about? Was this on?
I think he's referring to the show you did, the Rule Zero show.
You were calling male feminists out to a panel of testosterone.
So the Rule Zero panel is a panel of testosterone. We're all like we're all fucking alpha. I think he's saying we're all alpha chads, and the dudes who are coming in like
right. Those that came to you guys were stroking you before talking about the issue. Yeah, they were, and every last one of them were doing the same thing. He's talking about our show on Rule Zero yesterday, which was great. If you want to go see that, that's on Troy Francis's YouTube channel. It was actually pretty good. You were on it too. We were both on
very,
it.
Very briefly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
I want to answer this. I want to look at this question from Albert Wesker. This one.
Oh yeah. Let me throw that up. There you go. Okay. At what point did sexual objectification go from being toxic to empowering for women? Once women realized they could profit from it, they embraced it.
When it's when they get to decide who's the one objectifying them.
Right.
That's the key.
Right. Yeah.
They get to decide.
They're in control of the process. Yes.
Well, they're in control of like. It's toxic if she's not attracted to you.
Yeah.
It's empowering if she's attracted to you.
Right.
That's the rule.
Right. Well, I think that's one of the reasons why women want to embrace the idea of them being sex workers, because if you say prostitute, slut, skank, whatever, that's when it sounds derogatory, but you're just basically calling a spade, right? I mean, that's what they are. It's
funny when we shoot a scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we shoot a scene, we go over like our boundaries and stuff before a scene, and one of the boundaries we'll talk about is like, what words can I call you and what words can I not call you when we're having sex, and you'd be shocked like the number of it's different for every woman, like what they'll like. Some girls like being called a slut, some girls hate being called a slut, some girls like being called a whore, some girls hate being called a whore. Like it's like and the reason is because every girl has had like at some point early on in their life they've had a dude try to shame them.
Oh, while they're doing a scene.
Not even during a scene, like it's pre-porn, like when they're in when they're in their teens and they're developing their sexuality or whatever. They've had some dude call them a slut or a whore or skank or whatever, and it's imprinted very negatively on them, and they don't but that word is different for every girl.
Ah,
so they'll all react different. So you never know. Like as a performer, I never know what words I can use. I have to actually ask them, like. Because if I use the wrong word, they're going to flip out in the middle of the scene.
Right. Let me ask you this, though. Do you think that, would the same girl have different boundaries with one guy than she would for another guy? Like, for you, it's one thing, but for another guy, it's like anything goes, brother.
Not really on camera. Not really.
Let's just say, do you think that they're consistent with guys?
Well, in the industry, yes.
Mm-hmm.
With guys in our industry, absolutely, because they're pretty much because they know we're all getting pussy, they know we're all guys who fuck. Like there's a certain type of guy that gets into this industry.
Yeah.
So it's kind of by default, all the guys are pre-selected.
Yeah. Well, they would have to be, right? Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I mean, as far as yesterday is concerned, I thought that was a really good show. But again, it sort of reinforces what we've been talking about here is, we got, maybe were you around for this question? Cause this actually kind of relates to what we've been talking about. Is one of these guys said, or who was really coming down on Rich and coming down on John for being grifters, right? For being for profiting off of men's insecurities. And I understand.
I wasn't there for that. So,
but it's okay. And I'll just answer it real quick. Like these guys, they'll say, well, you charge money for, or you make money or you whatever, because, you know, men are weak and men need this and men are insecure. Men are like the guy that was in that quote just a minute ago, spending $4,000 on whatever, those guys. And they come to seek you for help. And then you take advantage of them. That's like, well, first of all, we have actually a desire to help guys, which was the last thing I just said, right? The end of the show is like, how can we lift these guys out of that? How can we help improve these guys' lives?
exactly.
You know, if we make money at it, great. But it's like, it's impossible for me as Rollo Tomassi. I've got the Bible of the Manosphere, or the Bible of the red pill, you know, in my bookcase, right? I wrote the book, literally. It's not that I wrote the book because I want to make a shit ton of money. I'm glad I get paid for it. But I did it because I wanted to help guys understand and not make the same mistakes that I made, that other guys made, that I knew, and I aggregated all that stuff. So there's that, yeah, the guys are going to be insecure, and everyone that you know is going to try to profit from your insecurity, so long as you're insecure. So, or you can sort of twist the narrative to make it seem like you're being manipulated via your insecurities. But if you go and you buy a Pepsi instead of a Coke, you know, is that not the same thing? Is that there's, I mean, maybe it's not the same level of, you know, involvement or investment, but I'm saying it's like the same, it's playing on the same, you can twist that to be like, I've been manipulated as to, oh, I've been helped. So the same guys who are calling Rich and John grifters for that insecurity are the same guys who are paying $4,000 for a girl on OnlyFans right now.
But the thing with like John and Rich and you and the rest of us is that we're trying to get rid of these guys' insecurities. We're trying to help them get past insecurities and and actually improve their life so they don't have that insecurity anymore.
Right.
And then other people can't take advantage. Then other people who actually don't have good intentions can't influence them, and you know.
Yeah, you know, and it's, of course, you know, yeah, I'm the Mother Teresa of the red pill. No, I'm not. But you know, that's like, I'm not trying to sell myself as being that way, but you can't put stuff out like this. You can't make people aware. You can't talk even red pill or black pill or doom pill or MGTOW or MRA or whatever without people feeling like you're pandering to them. And if you make money in the process of that, well, then you're a grifter. And it's like, well, who are you going to pay? You know, you want to pay me for talking to you and counseling you and helping you, you know, hopefully maybe giving you some suggestions to lift you up out of this. That's what I was just saying. How do we lift guys out of this? How do we prevent if this generation is screwed, how do we prevent the next generation from getting like worked over by the next OnlyFans thing or whatever comes next down the pike, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but going back to that guy's question, when he talked about what was it exactly? It was like at what point does it go from being toxic to being empowering? Right.
Oh, that's what it is. No, he said the transactional sex with your girl, or
no, it was the toxic versus empowering. At what point?
Oh, okay, here it is. This is Albert. Sorry, it passed me by. I got it though. It's at what point did sexual objectification go from being toxic to being empowering for women?
Okay, so I want to bring up something I haven't seen anyone really mentioning yet because it only happened in the last few days. Did you see Abu American's shoe tying?
I participated in that thread. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I was chatting to Abu in the DMs about this, and I said it's funny. I said this to him. Oops, my headphone. I said it's really funny. All these women and these white knights come out and like have a problem with him having his wife, who loves and adores him, tie his shoes. Right. Mm-hmm. I post a video on my hardcore Twitter account of a girl licking and sucking my feet,
and
it's empowering.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah. I think it's
disconnect.
Yeah, it's certainly contextual. I'll say that because like what you're doing is sort of in a sexual zone, whereas like when people because we live in a gynocentric social order, right? If you see a woman abasing herself, you think if we see that, like if it's in porn, it's like, oh, it's a fantasy. I can separate myself from the fantasy. But like for Abu American having his wife tie his shoe for him, that seems like abasement. And that's only what men are supposed to do. Like when men propose marriage, they're supposed to get on one knee and pretend that they're like, he's smitten with love and I'll be your eternal slave. And women go, oh, okay, I'll choose you, or I won't choose you, depending on what it is. But that abasement, we've gotten to the point right now in a gynocentric social order that's for men. That is not for anyone. No woman should ever do that, because we respect women by default, whereas men, we only respect when they do something worthy of respectability. So last one here, and then we'll go. It is, what'd you say? Suggestion, Rollo, Neanderthal predation theory. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm aware of that. Ola, my favorite guitarist. I will do. I've read about that as well. You really want me to do a show on that? That's a little specialized, man. You didn't like Bella Thorne. You want to talk about Neanderthals? All right, this has been fun. Thanks, Stirling. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming on. This has been great. And I'm glad we did some prep for this, because this has been really, I think, informational, at least for me anyways. I like what you had to say about the local sexual marketplace. And guys, I hadn't thought about it that way. Guys who are in that local sexual marketplace tend to develop one-itis with women within that global sexual marketplace. And they have access to more women to become one-itis with, or to think are their soulmates, or to want to, be devoted to in some way. That's going to be food for thought for at least another episode, or maybe another essay for me. So thank you for that. That was great.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. This has been The Rational Male. I will be on Wednesday on my. Actually, you know what? I might not be on Wednesday. I might have an errand that I have to run. My mom's 81st birthday is on Wednesday, so I might not be doing the show. If I do,
happy birthday to her.
Yes, Mama Tomassi. She will be 81 years old on Wednesday, so I might be out that day. If I am out, I will do it on Thursday. So same bat time, same bat channel. Also, on September 1st, we will have the announcement for the digital online conference for the Rule Zero Now online conference. I'm just about ready with the collateral. I'll be talking to you. Stirling's going to be one of the speakers for that as well. We will be selling additional tickets to that. So if you want to be registered for that, they'll be coming up. We will be doing that September 5th through the 9th, I believe will be the sell date. So it'll only be like for 4 or 5 days, I think will be if you didn't get registration before, you will have 1 week to be able to do that. And then the actual convention, the online talks and everything that we're going to be doing, we're going to have like breakout rooms and workshops and things like that as best we can. We will be there for you the whole weekend. It will be October 2nd through the 3rd. Watch for that this week, because we'll make the big announcement, and probably on all of our local channels and certainly on my Patreon. So, and yes, my Patreon live feed will be available this week as well. So we'll do another, I think I'm just going to do Q&As on that for the time being. And if you're interested in listening to any of the music that the band that I'm in right now, I play that on my Patreon. So you have to be a Patreon sub if you really want to. People keep asking me about that. So, all right, Stirling, it's been fun, man. I will see you in the DMs, and we will talk again soon.
Yes.
All right, man. Thanks. Bye, guys.